Hey, it's Coach Justin from Ultimate Baseball Training, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 hacks to help you instantly start seeing the ball better on the field. Let's just get straight into it. All right, very first thing, this doesn't even count towards the 3 hacks, but this is a prerequisite if you want to be a great baseball player. Guys, get your eyes checked, get your vision checked, and I recommend that you do this at the beginning of every single season because your eyes can always be changing, and none of these 3 hacks are going to work unless you have really good eyesight, right? And so if we don't have good eyesight, we need to find a way to correct that, whether it be through contacts or wearing sports goggles, something like that. Heck, you can even find prescription Oakley sunglasses these days that look really stylish, so don't worry about that at all. But I promise you, get your eyes checked. Even if you think that you can see just fine, I would still highly recommend it. It's not very expensive. A lot of the times insurance will cover it, and I promise you it will change your game if your vision is not where it truly needs to be. This is something that I didn't do until way too late in my career. I actually thought that I saw fine. I never wore contacts or glasses or anything, but I went to get my eyes checked because I was having some trouble picking up different pitches with pitch recognition, right? And turns out I needed to wear contacts. And so I finally got contacts, and it made a world of difference, but I wish I would have done that at a younger age. So that's prerequisite number 1. None of these hacks are going to work unless your eyes are dialed in. So that's number 1 thing to do, is go get your eyes checked. Do that right now. All right, so now it's time for some hacks. Let's get into hack number 1, and that is keep your eyes fresh. And what I mean by that, really this can be applied no matter what position you play, but specifically for hitters, you want to make sure that you keep your eyes fresh, but you can also do this as an infielder, as an outfielder. You never want to be staring at a particular spot for too long because your eyes get tired, right? The way that your eyes work, they can only truly focus on an object at 100% for a very short amount of time. In fact, just a few seconds. And so a common problem that I see with a lot of baseball players is they get their sign from the third base coach and they step in the batter's box, and when the pitcher is just looking at the catcher getting his signs, this is before his delivery and everything, when the pitcher is just looking towards the hitter, sometimes I see the hitters already getting in their stance and I see their eyes completely locked in, almost like they're staring at the pitcher. And so if the pitcher is good at mixing up his timing, and sometimes he makes you sit there and wait, by the time he actually goes into his delivery and delivers the pitch, your eyes are already going to be too tired. So you're going to have a hard time recognizing pitches, and you're really going to have a hard time squaring up pitches, okay? So we don't want to, stare at a particular spot for too long. We want to keep our eyes fresh. And the best way to do that is go from a soft focus, is what it's called, to a hard focus, okay? So let's reenact what I just did. I get my sign from the third base coach, and when I step in the batter's box, okay, first of all, we want to be nice and loose, just like, we're loose and relaxed because loose muscles are fast muscles. So I'm nice and loose here. I'm not tense, I'm not tight or whatever, but I'm not staring out at the pitcher like this, okay? Soft focus means kind of just a gaze in his general direction. You know, when you're in a car ride and you're looking out the window and you're not necessarily staring at a particular spot, you're just kind of almost daydreaming and gazing out the car window. Well, that's the same thing that you want to do when you get in the batter's box, okay? So I'm aware that the pitcher's out there. I'm aware that, he's getting signs. It's not like I'm not paying attention. I'm aware that he's out there, but it's just a soft kind of gaze. Whatever you have to do. You see me wiggling my bat here. If that helps you kind of relax, if you just want to put the bat on your shoulders and maybe wiggle your fingers, it's kind of a personal preference, whatever you can do to stay loose. But the biggest thing is my eyes are fresh. I'm not staring out there. I'm blinking. I'm keeping my eyes lubricated. So that's my soft focus. That would be when he's, on the mound getting his signs. And then when he starts his movement, when he starts his delivery, that is when you want to go from a soft focus and just kind of gazing out there to, or having the bat on your shoulder to, okay, now I'm going to start, prepping my eyes for the baseball to actually be delivered. And that's when you can start looking at the release point. That's what I suggest. Don't follow his arm all the way around. Pick up the release point, but you want to make sure that your eyes are fresh. Go from that soft focus to then when he starts his motion, then you can lock on a little bit more. That'll really help you pick up the ball better. Let's get into hack number 2, and that is find a focal point. And this, I'm talking specifically about hitting right now, but this can be applied whether you're an infielder or really, it's really helpful if you're an outfielder, okay? Because you're a little bit further away from the plate and you really have to make sure your eyes are dialed in, right? But find a focal point. What do I mean by that? Well, I want you to find a specific spot out in the distance that you can look at any ballpark that you ever go to, okay? So this is not something that only your home field has, because obviously you're going to be playing games on the road, right? And so a couple common focal points that I like to see players use. One is, for a right-handed hitter, either the right or the left field foul pole. Okay, because every single stadium that you go to is going to have a foul pole. You can also look at, the scoreboard. That might be another thing. You want to be careful looking at lights, because if the lights are on, that's really going to kind of blind you, and not every single stadium has lights, right? But find something that's off in the distance. I really like the foul pole because that it's going to be at every single yard, but find something off in the distance that you can look at and that you can rely on no matter where you play. So that's your focal point. That's the very first thing. Now, how do we actually apply this? What am I talking about? Well, let's say I get my sign from my third base coach, right? I step in, boom, I'm ready to go for my at bat, and whatever happens on this pitch, the first pitch, let's say I take it. It's a ball outside, okay? So I take that pitch. Now, we always want to release that pitch, right? Because it's done, it's over with, it's in the past, okay? So whatever you want to do, whether it's kind of wipe the box clean or whatever, but obviously we want to step out of the batter's box again and get our next sign. Now, here's where the focal point comes into play. After I get my sign, I want to dial in my eyes. So what I like to do, I like to hold my bat up like this, and this is also a great thing that you can do to help with your breathing. But I like to look at the label of my bat, okay? So I'm looking at something that's very close to me, right? That's about a foot away from my eyes. So I'm looking at that. I take a deep breath, and then I quickly look at that object out in the distance. So for me, that right field foul pole, I'm looking at that object in the distance, and it's just for a split second, maybe a full second, okay? So I shift my focus from the label here to the foul pole and back to the label, and then I step in. Now, what I just did there, and it takes literally just a couple of seconds, so nobody's even going to really notice that you're doing this, but what I did there is I shifted my focus from something that's near to something that's far, and then something that's back to near, okay? The big thing is, that's why I told you to have your focal point out in the distance, is because it's something far away, and then quickly you're refocusing on something that's close to you. Well, what do you do when a pitch is thrown, right? Obviously, the pitcher's not as far away as the foul pole, right? But when you're waiting for a pitch to get delivered, and when he finally releases it, you're picking up an object at a distance, and then boom, in a matter of milliseconds, it's gonna be right here, just a couple feet away from you. So you need to be able to shift your focus. I have found that this technique, above anything else, will, I promise you, lock in your eyes on that baseball. If you're struggling with seeing the baseball, if you just feel like, man, I can't pick it up, or I'm not watching it all the way to my bat, I promise you, just try this, and you can work on it in batting practice so you get the hang of it, right? But I promise you, this is going to make such a big impact. So just right before you step in the batter's box, look at the label, look off in the distance, back at the label, take a deep breath, boom. My eyes are locked in. I go into my soft focus, then he winds up, then I go into my hard focus, and boom, then I start rounding the bases because I saw the ball so well. All right, now the last hack number 3. Guys, this is so basic, but I promise you, you probably have never even consciously thought about this in a game or in batting practice. But what I find is a lot of hitters who are struggling to really see the baseball, I find that if you watch my head here, they almost hit with their head tilted or cocked or something like this, or even if their head is, in a good position, they really have their left eye, for a right-handed hitter, their front eye is on the baseball, but their right eye is kind of just facing this way. They're not truly turning their face, turning their head towards the pitcher. You see what I did there? I went from this position here, this is the way that I see a lot of hitters, to turning my head like this. And so this is something that if you're struggling to see the ball, make a conscious effort of, when you're taking your rounds in batting practice, when you step in the box in a real game. This is not a huge mechanical thing that's going to mess you up. Just get in the batter's box and say, okay, turn my head. Even if that means, one thing I've found is putting your hand on your chest and kind of turning your chest this way. That'll kind of help you with turning your head, okay? Or you can even touch your chin and make sure you turn it this way. Nobody's gonna really notice, but I promise you guys, it's a lot easier to hit the baseball and see the ball with 2 eyes rather than 1, right? No duh, so simple. But a lot of players, again, they hit with their head cocked or hit with their head tilted. So when you step in the batter's box, just make a conscious effort. Make sure that you're seeing the ball with both eyes. If you really want to take it to an extreme, if you're really having a hard time seeing the baseball, one little stance change that you might make is just slightly opening up, okay? Because that'll allow you to really get your full face on the baseball and see it with both eyes. You just want to make sure that you close yourself off when you go into your load and your stride. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Try these hacks out and let me know what you think. And if you're a hitter and you want to boost your bat speed and your power, then I have a great free workout for you that I want you to grab right now. It's 100% free. To grab it, all you need to do is click on the link below this video in the first comment. I'll leave the link in that first comment. I'll pin that comment so it's easy to find. So just click on that, follow the instructions on that page, and you can start boosting your bat speed literally today with this free workout. So go ahead and do that right now. If you found these hacks in this video to be helpful, I'd really appreciate if you gave me a like. If you have suggestions for future videos, then leave a comment below. And if you haven't joined our UBT family yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we're coming out with new baseball videos every single week. I don't want you to miss any of them. So hit that subscribe button right now and turn on your notifications. That way you're notified as soon as we release a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.